Good morning, everyone, and welcome to American Scousers Morning Coffee or Tea with American Scouser. It's Friday. It is a reckless Friday in more ways than one. It is reckless. Slow news day today, John. What are you up to?
Slow news day today, and I think when you mean good morning, you mean Mourning. Good morning. Yeah, because it's not a good morning. I'm sure everyone has caught up to the news, and honestly, I don't know what to say. I know we have to say something today, but it's one of the few times where I'm just like, what now? And yeah, definitely we're going to talk about it, but yeah, just a bit gutted right now.
Yeah, it's like interesting. I don't know. Like, I woke up. I woke up literally like middle of the night almost. Must have sensed a disturbance in the force or something. And I woke up and I didn't even look at the news or anything. It's like freaking middle of the night, you know.
Yeah.
I was kicking people's ass on FIFA and shits, and then I see it, and I'm like, holy cow! And literally, I was telling you right before when we were on it, I saw the headline, and I think it was on. I can't remember. Like it probably was on Facebook or something like that. And my initial thing was, what is the date today? Because I'm that old, you know, you got to kind of stop and think. Because it seemed like a cheesy
Out of
April
season.
1st headline, like Mbappe signs for 10 years or some bullshit like that, you
Yeah.
know. And then you see it, then it's like, holy cow, it's on the Liverpool account and all over the place. Like the entire feed was nothing but Klopp news. So obviously, your initial reaction, we can kind of tell, but like, okay, how long have you had to digest the news?
Not long. And this is for everyone. This is for everyone who is watching right now. Just curious to know what you guys were doing when it was announced, because Tim here had a good shield when it happened. He was playing FIFA and absolutely demolishing a guy. So when the news came in, the shield kind of absorbed the bad news. So he's pretty okay now. But for me, it was literally the first thing that I woke up to, and so we're part of the American Scouser fan Discord channel. In case you guys aren't part, we're gonna put on a link here soon. I woke up to Kazi saying that I'm numb, I don't know what to do, and I thought, oh my god, is Salah out for the season or something? Apparently, it was much worse, and like, wow, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to think right now. It's insane. The timing of it all. Obviously, most of you have seen his video talking as to why. Tim and I were talking about it. The reasons are pretty understandable, right? It makes perfect sense. It's just, I don't know, if football flashback is in the stream, I don't think even he would put money on Klopp making this announcement right now. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, Ryan says just a little surprised after just signed the recent
Right.
contract. I think the timing was surprising,
Yes.
but here's the thing, right? We were talking about this last year, throughout last year, especially when things were going south. You saw a club that was like so like demoralized. He looked tired, right? And we were
He
talking
did.
about it back then. I remember we were talking about it on the Monday podcast and stuff like that. Steve says speechless. Every minute has so much more gravity now. And I think, yeah, so we're going to talk about that too in terms of like how it will affect going forward. But we were saying he was kind of looking tired. And he's a guy that manages. I mean, I know it's like oversimplified, like he's just not like a rah 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 guy. There's a lot more to it,
Yeah.
but a lot of the energy comes from him. I mean, it's a heavy metal football, blah blah, blah, and like a lot of energy comes from him. And obviously, when a guy like that, it's you're either going full speed or you're not going, and that's pretty much what he was saying, which I understand. We all thought the 2.0, and I know there's a press conference right now, so if there's anything, hopefully like people will chime in and let us know. I almost feel like people are gonna ask the same questions that were in the interview, almost like they didn't watch the interview, and then we're gonna get the same answers. He's gonna keep saying the same thing. I don't think he's gonna suddenly be like, this is why, or something like that. But anyway, we thought the 2.0 was going to re-energize him, right? This is a new beginning. He looked like the re-energized guy, but sounds like somewhere in the background, he's like, I just don't have it anymore, is what I got out of that interview.
Yeah, and again, it's surprising. We'd think that if we're going back to the Newcastle game to start the year, he looked like his old self, his prime self, in front of the cop, just fist pumping. He lost his wedding ring, he got it back and played to the cameras. It felt like, oh, this is an entirely new cycle that's starting and we're in for a wild ride. So that's what kind of surprised me the most about it. But that it just goes to show that we fans, we just see what's on the cameras. We never know what's going behind the scenes. We'll never know what's going behind the Klopp household, and it's completely understandable, like you said, Tim, for a manager that invests like 10,000% of his emotions on the job. It's not, I don't want to say it right now, obviously we have the benefit of knowing that he's gonna go, that he's about to go at the end of the season, but at some point you have to think the highs are really high, but then the failures are just really, really low. And at the end of the day, Klopp he's just a guy. And that takes its toll on a man. And we kind of saw it at Dortmund, right? After that cycle, he had that really meh season to close out. And he took like a year or so of a leave. So he is that kind of guy where he pours his 1,000,000% in. But then after a certain period, he needs some time to recharge, I guess, if that makes sense. So maybe this is the point in his cycle. We talk about the Mourinho cycle, right? The 3-year cycle.
Yes.
This is probably the Klopp cycle where he pours his absolute best and pours his emotions into everything. And this is the time where he's like, okay, guys, I gave everything. I'm out. It's time for me to just go. And the best part is, I like what everyone's talking about. He's going on his own terms. And he's already laid the groundwork. He's controlling the narrative and everything. So that's, I guess, the silver lining in all of this, right? If you could call it that.
I mean, there's a lot to it, right? I mean, we actually thought last year was the end of the cycle. And it almost looked like, wait, the cycle is starting again this season. But I think, it's different. Like I say, initially it was shock. And then, obviously, I got all freaking morning. So I put on YouTube, like, the interview. And I watched the interview. And I, like, basically... I get so much, like, having been in similar situations. Other old farts might have, like, in the audience right now, might kind of be able to relate and stuff too. But, like, when the interview was done, it was pretty much like, I hear you, man. Good luck to you. Thanks for everything, kind of a thing. So Victor says, really good opportunity for a viewing party. Could watch the press conference and watch how the lips quiver as we try not to ugly cry. Yeah, I mean, but that's the thing, as I listen to the interview, like, the funny thing is, like, when he was talking about, and I can almost, like, envision the scene, like, back when he told the club in November, and it sounded like, this came even earlier than that, to him at least. He notified the
Gordo. Sorry.
Like,
it hasn't sunk in yet, man.
Yeah, there's been a lot of like crying. I don't know. I almost like was semi, like, more like peaceful with it, I guess, having listened to it. Like I say, I remember way back. I mean, this is like, we're talking like decades ago. And I was at like Menards, and I was like running the hardware department, which is also the seasonal department. So you set seasons up, Christmas, patio furniture, blah, blah, blah. It's just constantly shuffle. So love what I was doing. I'm like a young kid. I'm probably like your age, actually, of all things. So like, doing that, everything is going great. Age, blah, blah, blah. But I remember, and I did that for like 3 years or something like that. I just remember there was a moment where I saw like a forklift drive by, and he was bringing the new patio furniture. And I was like, yeah, I'm done with this. Like, it was just like, it's just like, until then, it never came to me. But I saw that, and I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm fucking done with this. I'm ready for something else. And I feel like when he's talking about in the interview about, they're talking about like potential transfers. They're talking about like where they're going to do the camp and stuff like that. And I almost envision him sitting in the office and looking at that stuff and being like, yeah, I'm done. Like, I just can't do the same cycle again. We only see the pitch stuff, right? We only see what happens on game day and stuff like that mostly, and not when, all the summer, all the preparations, all that stuff that goes into it, the camps and stuff like that. And it takes a lot of energy, and sounds like, he just does not have enough, which is fair. So
yeah, we just came across this tweet in this press conference. So Klopp said on whether he will have a role in appointing his successor. Why should I? Fair answer, right?
Yep.
What we've built over the past 8.5 years is a very strong structure behind the scenes. The last thing they need is advice from the old man walking out. Come on,
Yeah,
Jurgen.
I was actually kind of shocked to see, and I guess it kind of makes sense when you look about it. Um, and Gordo says we sort of all knew he came with a timer. The fact we got him for longer than normal. Yes, I think so. I feel like we kind of like got the extended warranty and got a couple more years out of him than like we anticipated, probably because looking at his normal cycle, like you were saying, and um like the entire staff leaving. And I'm assuming these conversations, that's, I think Michael was saying in the Discord channel too, that the good thing is, I mean, these conversations have been going on for almost 3 months now
Yeah,
based on this. And I assume there was an understanding in terms of like the club probably did not consider or want to continue in the same path, just bumping up Pep and stuff like that. They wanted to kind of change the whole shebang if we're changing kind of thing. How shocked are you? Because I know there was a lot of talk about before when we thought the cycle was ending, right?
hmm
It's like Pep or Gerard and stuff like that. And I was on the Pep camp just because of like continuity and stuff like that. How shocked are you that like everybody's leaving? Like Pep is doesn't even seem like it's an option.
yeah, a little bit. But my interpretation of that is that his staff are loyal to him and to him only, and maybe at this point they feel like they're not ready. If ever they're going to take the main guy job, they're not ready for as big a club as Liverpool. So as to why they didn't go ahead, particularly Pep Linders. So yeah, it's again still processing everything. The fact that he's taking his staff with him, it just pretty much adds to the whole finality of the thing. And Cersei kind of puts it here: the whole culture will now change. Yeah, as much as people are talking about establishing a culture, establishing foundations, and all that, but you have to ask the question, Tim. Like, obviously, a new guy's gonna come in. He'd want his players.
Exactly.
We just brought in a new set of players, the McAllisters, the Szoboszlais, the Nunez as Gakpos to an extent. So it's gonna be really. I don't
Well,
want
you
to
know
think.
what the funny thing is?
Yeah,
How long have we talked about some of these guys not really fitting ultimately
yeah,
his system, like a Nunez?
yeah,
You know what I mean? Like when we had Carvalho, like a Carvalho, we were like, probably fits a different formation better, but we know Klopp is not going to fit that formation. I mean, obviously, if you bring a new manager in, you're not going to change all the players. So it's a matter of, when you go through that process, I mean, it's similar to like any other sport. You're going to get what the guy is planning based on what he has.
mhm.
But are you, at the same time, I find it natural that all the assistants are leaving too, because it's not like Klopp is going somewhere else. He's talking about taking at least a year off. I get the sense just listening to him, like he's never really had that for an extended period of time. And now he's like a grandfather and stuff too, right? Like he almost like wants to test that life, if you will. But then I get the sense, knowing the dude, knowing his energy, knowing the passion and stuff, a year later he's gonna be itching for action. But that's when I feel like the national team, something that's like a manager light, makes a lot more sense, a lot less taxing time wise, energy wise, and everything like that.
Yeah. It makes sense for him to take a managerial job in the international scene, especially since, all due respect to Dortmund, he did massively great things there. But I feel like the stress of managing Liverpool, especially in this era where our losses were very marginal by 1 point, by one goal,
Yep.
the pressure of keeping them on top. Like I said, we see the guy as a god, but sometimes we forget that he's actually just a person. And all those hits, all those body blows, all those blows that you'd think would knock out a guy, and he still
Yeah.
stands up. It takes its toll. So again, like we're saying, the reason as to why he's going is completely understandable. We as humans can relate to that. It's just, wow, we never really expected it to be this soon. Like, let me ask you, Tim, if you wanted, we, like we said, we all know it was going to happen. When did you like realistically expect it to happen?
Honestly, last year I expected to happen any minutes, right? With
Really?
this earlier this season, I felt like, oh, we rebooted the system,
Mm,
so it would take a while before it overheats again, like an old computer, kind of an ordeal. So I felt like the 2.0 getting these younger guys, rebuilding the team, it looked like it re-energized them. So I felt like we had another 2 3 years, and there were even rumors of an extension. But that was only like a month or two ago, right? There was a
Yeah.
rumor of like an extension. It might get announced any minute and stuff like that. So, but at the same time, like I say, when you watch that interview, if you can't relate to what he's saying, and he's leaving through the front door.
Mm.
I mean, look at last season where some people were already Klopp out and stuff like that. Do you want to leave? If you're Klopp, it is a good time to leave. Everybody's like, oh, but he's like, he's so close again. Like this team is going to be good for so many years and stuff like that. But it's all a matter of energy. Like it takes so much to keep things where they're at. He just does not feel like he has that energy again. Like I said, I almost feel like I just envision him in the office looking at like that plan in front of him and be like, yeah, I just can't do it again.
Yeah. Oh, for fuck's sake, we're doing this again.
Yeah. So like,
Like,
he's gonna give like one good solid run. And
yeah.
that's what I want to ask you. How do you think this impacts the team?
Yeah, that's the question, because it entirely depends on your perspective in life. I feel like we have some people saying, it's gonna galvanize them. Let's do this quadruple season. Let's fucking go. But then there are others that are like, hold on a minute. What motivation do these guys have at this point? First of all, they don't even know if they're gonna be in the same plans next year, right? Because obviously the McAllisters, the Soboslais, all those new guys, the Nunez's, Gakpos, they came in here, Klopp talked to them, and he laid out specifically where he wants them now and where he probably will see them in like 2 years or 3 years or something like that. But now with him gone, obviously the uncertainty, it's like, for example, you're working like a regular job, right? And you're pretty close with your supervisor or your boss. But then this person leaves and a new one comes in. You're totally unfamiliar. Obviously, you're going to be asking questions, right? Am I going to vibe with this guy?
I get that, but I also get, maybe because it's sports, I almost get like a feeling of, and I think maybe that's why we were all hoping it would be a feeling of a last hurrah, like your senior year, if you will. You know what I mean? Let's just go give it all and see where we get with this. Because you can't impact it. You can't impact anything at that stage. All you can do is, especially if you've been with Klopp all along, like the Trents and the Robos and the Van Dykes and stuff like that, you want to see him riding to the sunsets with a couple more trophies, right? And if you're like a new guy, I mean, you want to win trophies with this club, I think, regardless anyway.
Yeah. I totally get that. And again, that's the glass half full kind of perspective.
And of all things, I'm the full guy. Yeah?
Right. I know, right? Like the sky is really falling. Klopp is leaving. Tim is positive. How badly did you beat that guy in FIFA where you're a little...
I did the online draft and I won 4 in a row. It was a beating.
Right. Well, there we go. It's probably keeping, your vibes up right now. But yeah, hopefully it's that. Hopefully it's more of that than the other scenario, which is players doubting themselves, doubting their futures. And they don't, because like, let's be real, Klopp's style, it's great tactically, but it doesn't happen without the 1000% effort that the players put in. And we saw last year, like what a dip in 1%, 2% effort does.
Yeah.
The whole system goes to shit. So hopefully that doesn't happen. Hopefully the players are galvanized more than ever. If I was gonna lean towards one, maybe towards the positive one, because of just how good of a manager Klopp is. Like he could go anywhere and just motivate everyone to do their job 10 times more productively, right? So,
and these guys are going to be with this club either freaking way. I mean, like, only a few players' contract is ending. It might be more difficult to do extensions and stuff like that, aside maybe from like a guy like Trent or something like that. But Brian says the job must be incredibly stressing. It's stressing to be a supporter at times. He's done as well. I mean, I totally agree. And, the stress, we were just talking about it, I think, this past weekend, right? Like you do the show afterwards, we do the post-match. It's almost like a therapy session when things go well, or you kind of like get it off your chest and you can move on with your day. We can as a fan. He can't. He has to, like it's constantly that grind. And I think the grind for us is more during the season. like game match day and stuff like
Mm,
that. I mean,
mm.
the grind, and I think that's the part that really got to him more, and that he feels like he doesn't have like you get this from like older NFL players and stuff, where they're like, they're in for the game and stuff, but they're like, I just can't go through the training camp and the OTAs and all that kind of shit anymore. So we do not see that part of the picture. That's probably even more stressful. I almost feel like game days might be the least stressful in the sense that, now you're kind of like putting forward what you worked on. The preparation is probably just as stressful to get there.
Yeah, and credit to Klopp as well for recognizing it, because he could have
Yes.
easily gone like, nah, I still got it in me. I still got one more in me. I don't know if you know that meme, Tim. I still got one more in me, even though he knows like deep
Yeah.
inside himself he doesn't have it. And not to make a comparison here, but Arsene Wenger, obviously most beloved Arsenal
Yeah.
manager, everyone says that he overstayed his welcome. And
Yes.
Klopp is obviously, he won't draw any parallels to that, but this is a case of him maybe recognizing like, oh, this is a perfect point. This is a perfect
Yeah.
time.
I mean, how many managers do you remember leaving on top?
Sir Alex.
Yeah, it's not a
Yeah,
lot that
just Sir
gets to
Alex. Yeah.
leave on top, gets to leave on their own terms,
Mm-hmm.
and while being loved and respected and adored and all that kind of stuff that he is at Liverpool. I mean, the dude is a legend for life now, and I think, like I say, I get it. I get exactly what he's saying.
Yeah.
There's two ways to leave. I mean, this seems to be a lot better way, and I get that. I totally get what he's saying. Like I said, you watch an interview, and it's like, I hear you, man. Good luck to you. But
Right.
then you kind of turn around and be like, yeah, but what the fuck are we gonna do now? Kind of an ordeal. Like as he leaves, you turn around, you're like, oh shit, now what are we
Right.
going to do? So yeah, like Douglas left on top the first time, but that and then
Yeah, he kind of
that
put
doesn't happen. That's the
right.
exact
He
time we
kind of
found
put
out how that went.
right. He kind of pulled a Jordan when he came back to the Wizards. Right? Like, oh man. Just to lighten up the mood a bit here, I caught this snippet from his press conference. Klopp on Jose Enrique's comments. Jose Enrique, by the way, that guy's hilarious.
Dude, I saw that today, by the
Yeah.
way. And not only that, I've seen so many stupid ass conspiracy theories about, oh, it's the documentary. That's why he's
Yeah.
leaving and stuff. Instead of farting out conspiracy theories, just go watch the goddamn interview. And then he
Yeah.
says right in the interview that he said this in November. So instead of like just crapping out bullshit conspiracy theories, at least listen to the dude first before
Yeah.
you start running around. But this is, if you were in the FSG out camp,
Yeah.
this is the call signal right now. Like the
Right.
Batman signal is out. They're all coming out right now. They're like, it's the FSG's fault and stuff like that. And it's just like
Jose Enrique and his bum ass doing everything to stay relevant. I swear, like, come on, Jose, time and place. Everyone is upset right now. Then you're coming in with your FSG bullshit. I swear, like,
I mean, it's basically like I say, like these people who were. I mean, we talked about this a couple of weeks ago about like if you're FSG out, like you're kind of like waiting in the camp, kind of a thing. And yeah, this, like I say, it's time to come out now. And I understand he has been competing against City. This is what like that I don't understand, and I would love to hear from somebody like fucking Jose and shit like that. Where I understand it probably makes the job even more stressful, right?
Yeah.
When you're swimming against the tide and you're going against City, who's violating every goddamn rule there is. So what do you want? Do you want us to violate the rules and be in the same situation as them? I am like sick of the narrative that he hasn't had backing. Because if he hadn't had backing, he wouldn't sign extension after extension after extension. And we have spent money. He has gotten guys. But at the same time, there have been times probably where he has been said no. And you do want a system where somebody has to come in and tell your manager, yeah, no, man, that doesn't make any financial sense. So you do not end up like Everton. You do not end up like United. Somebody should have come in and told Ten Hag, dude, that guy is not worth 90 million for Anthony. We'll give him 30 if they give him, but we're not giving 90 for him or whatever the hell he costs. You need that system. And yeah, he said basically he's not going to do anything for the next 12 months.
Yeah.
Mind you, I think he had said something similar when he left Dortmund. And then when Liverpool came calling, he cut that vacation short. I just don't see a similar scenario because I don't know who's going to be bigger than Liverpool. I mean, everybody big will be knocking on his door, but
Yeah.
let's face it, he's not the same kind of manager as, like, I was watching somebody earlier on one of the YouTube shows was talking about like Barcelona. I don't think he's a Barcelona manager. I don't think he's a manager of a team like that. Liverpool, like, was the perfect fit for him. Dortmund was the perfect fit for him. I don't think he wants, like, City and his budgets. I've always said that I don't think Pep Guardiola does Klopp's job at Liverpool, but I
No,
also
no.
don't think Klopp does Pep's job at City.
He's more of a establish a system, establish a culture, and then go from there kind of
Yes.
manager. He's not like he'll walk into a project that's already completed and then just iron out the kinks and then it goes from there. He's kind of like to make an analogy for any of you basketball fans out there. Like it's like when Mark Jackson joined the Warriors, he set the culture first. And then Steve Kerr came in and just ironed out the kinks, and that's when they started winning things. It's not a 100% accurate analogy because I think Steve Kerr and Klopp has won the biggest possible things. He's not just a
Yeah.
project setter and then someone comes in. He's kind of like the 2-in-1, but
Well, yeah, he basically carried it all the way
yeah,
to.
he carried it all. Yeah, he likes the project. He likes the challenge. Sorry, this kind of caught me off guard. Sparky said, I think he has an illness that will. Oh man, I certainly hope not. I
Yeah, I
really,
hope
yeah,
not. I mean, I don't know. Like, why wouldn't he say that then? I mean, I
yeah,
feel like, he's being honest. And this is the problem, right? We always talk
yeah.
about this with managers. When they're honest, we're still like, no, he's not. He's saying, like, we're trying to look for stuff in the background. I don't think so. I think he's being totally honest. I think
Right,
he's
right.
like, I just don't have the energy to. It takes a lot of energy to do what we're doing, and I just don't have it now. And I probably feels it's not fair to the, to the players. Excuse me. Sergi says Al Ittihad will offer him 100 million per year. And that's
Nah,
the thing. I don't even know where
yeah,
he would go next as a club that
yeah.
would fit in this perfectly as Dortmund and Liverpool fits. Maybe I can't think of anything now, but
AC Milan.
I don't know. I don't know. I just,
They're not like back. They're still a project with very young, intriguing players that he can
but I
theoretically.
mean, it's not like when he came to Liverpool, we had a lot of young and intriguing players.
Yeah, I guess. I'm just throwing out some names here because I feel like he likes the challenge of like a sleeping giant, if that makes sense. That's a club, right? Um, well, Milan have kind of been back in the mix, so they've not been winning outright, but then they've been kind of back in the mix. I don't know. Like I said, this is probably a conversation we'd be bringing up after like a year or a year and a half because people are saying like, oh, it's FSG, oh, it's this and that. Nah,
Yeah.
it's purely personal, and he is taking that break. So this is the club
Yes, he
cycle
might.
kind of
Yeah, I
thing.
mean, I guess he said that. I'm assuming this is from the press conference because, like, in the interview, he kind of hinted something like, it's just like not gonna go into
Ooh,
all. He said something regarding talking to when he talked to the owners and stuff like that, and talked
mm-hmm.
about like how they were like whatever it takes, like to keep him kind of an ordeal. Like he had the similar conversation, but of course revealing more details, kind of thing. But I take that as more. He's talking about this like new lifestyle and he wants to try it and stuff like that. It could be something like that. It could be something in his family, like an illness like that, and it could be one of those, you know, uh, midlife crisis kind of moments almost where, like time is running out. I mean, he's a grandfather and
Yeah,
stuff like that. And he's like, he's never had like a normal life. And obviously, all the money in the world, I can see why he'd be like, it's time to spend some of it with the family. But I personally think he will take that break and have the itch and will not be maybe as fulfilled as he would. He doesn't even know if what he will feel like, and you're
yeah.
not going to know till you do it.
Hmm. Yeah, I totally. Yeah, I feel like he's probably just gonna go like, yeah, I'll take this break. Whatever happens, happens. And you know what? Fair enough. He deserves it. He's given everything, and like pretty much like everyone else, if you feel like you've run your course, again, he had the decency to admit it, which is
Yeah.
something. Which is like a silver lining. It hurts. It hurts right now. But if you're gonna analyze the logic, yeah, it's probably the best time to say all this and to admit that, oh, maybe the next 2 or 3 years, I won't be able to give the 100%. And anything less than 100% in this league isn't going to win you anything. Let's be real. So
Yeah, and I think in terms of, and this is what makes me think, Chris says at least we had the satisfaction knowing that the club knew since November and Stevie signed a new deal. Yes, I don't even know how much of that we would hear, honestly. Maybe
Right.
this time last year, I think we would hear a lot more of it, probably
Yeah.
nauseatingly dosage of it. But I don't know how many Liverpool players, even how big of a fan you were of Stevie, and if you're like, yeah, he's the right manager kind of thing
Absolutely
right now. I
not.
think we've seen it. Xabi Alonso is obviously the top number. I actually just watched him answer a couple of questions during the Bayer Leverkusen press conference. Obviously, they asked him right away about it and stuff like that. And I mean, he played the I'm really happy here. I'm just thinking of, this right now. I'm not thinking long term kind of a deal. But what makes me think is because obviously the biggest question comes in terms of like the timing, right? Why do it now? Because we're talking, obviously, the conversation becomes how is the team going to respond? How is it going to affect the rest of the season and stuff? And especially if he told, I almost feel like there is some stuff happening, like Chris is saying, and it's about to come out, and they realize this is at this day and age, this shit doesn't stay quiet. And you don't want the players and everybody else hearing that Liverpool is talking to so and so and get this other narrative out there, like, we're looking to replace Klopp or whatever like that. It's almost like they had to come clean now so that, they can move forward and it's okay for them to go to Xabi Alonso and say, hi, how about next year you come over here and stuff like that, or whoever they're going to go after? Or am I reading too much into it?
Yeah, I saw someone, I don't know if it's on our Discord channel or on Twitter, say that it's amazing, or even in the comments here, mind you, it's amazing that they managed to keep this under wraps, considering the club knew since November. Like, none of the players know. Van Dijk doesn't know he's the captain. He probably should be the first one to know. Like, it's amazing that no one knows. So, listen, with the timing, we can have all our theories, but as you said, Tim, as you said, and as Sparky said, there probably is a reason that we haven't anticipated. That's like a massive curveball to all of this. That we're like, when we find out, like, oh, okay, now we fully understand. Now it's like the personal angle, the health angle, the mental health angle, which again is completely understandable. But then that hidden wild card reason that's eventually going to come out, I think, is bugging me right now because I just can't help but think what it is. And at this point, looking at the glass half full kind of perspective, we're still in the season. We're still pretty much invested into it. And Klopp admitted he is invested into it. So there's going to be a lot of things to keep the mind of fans off of that right now, hopefully, because we're in the final of a competition, last 16 of the Europa League, in the Premier League title race. That's going to keep us distracted. So hopefully it doesn't come and hopefully it doesn't get leaked or whatever to ruin the chemistry of the team or something like that. But yeah, Brian, absolutely over Gerrard. I think Gerrard.
I can come up with probably 50 or so names.
Right. Gerrard,
to be honest.
Gerrard bottling that 2-0 lead in the final day he's just on the no-fly zone anymore.
Honestly, forget that. I mean, I think not being able to handle, I think we saw that his man management is not the best at Villa. With all the issues he had with Mings and other players and stuff like that. So I just don't, I didn't think he was ready then. I still don't think Ryan says rather have Mickey Mouse. I don't know if Gerrard might down the road might be. I don't think so. Some great players definitely. Jersey says I would pick Anat over Gerrard. He would just try out Thiago and Nunez out there and nobody else. And we were talking about that before we went on air, he was sharing injury news before that, and it was about he even we've been joking about it, he will give injury updates, and he said this a couple of months ago, don't even freaking ask me about Thiago and Basetic and stuff. He volunteered information about those, saying they're coming back sooner than later, whatever the hell that means. That's something I put it on Discord too. That's something that you would tell the guy that you owe money to. What are you gonna pay him, man? Dude, sooner than later. You're gonna get that money kind of thing. But I feel like maybe Klopp said, even Thiago is going to be healthy, it's a sign of bad things to come. I gotta get
Right.
the hell out of here.
Right. I don't know if you guys caught the training pictures, but Thiago is back. And given the circumstances of everything, no one cares. I have a feeling if Anan was in this show right now, he wouldn't even give a shit that Thiago is back, because that's just the news that came out is just so, it just throws a massive wrench into everything that you're just wow. So yeah, it's hey, positive news, good news on the injury front. We're okay, right, Tim? We have
Yeah, a
Trent
lot
back.
of guys coming
Yeah,
back. I think probably Robertson being the most likely,
yeah.
but Trent and Saboslai will probably be on the bench on this
Mm,
one. I almost feel like we will see them the last 15, 20 because they're not going to start against Chelsea otherwise. So I
mm.
will like to see them both coming on Sunday, maybe like 20, 25 minutes or something like that, to get ready and like hopefully start against Chelsea, especially in Trent situation. Not, I mean, Soboslai as well, I guess, but more Trent. If I had to pick one of them is going to come back, I would pick Trent coming back over Soboslai coming back. I've kind of liked what we've gotten out of the midfield in recent games, and I think you can kind of do some rotation against Norwich and stuff like that. Yeah, we have a game this Sunday.
Yeah, we actually have a game.
Yeah,
We have a
I mean,
game,
we're going
guys.
to talk about more. I mean, I was going to talk about that, like injuries and stuff like that until this morning. So it was just obviously huge news, and I think it's a huge news for Premier League too. Like, I mean, I see it shows kind of how big he is. I think if Ten Hag was leaving, I don't think anybody else cared.
Who?
Yeah,
Like who?
I mean, like
Yeah.
Pochettino leaving, but I think only two guys leaving will make this much of like a wave in the world of like Premier League, and that's Pep and Klopp. I mean, those are the two main characters. Everybody else is also starring.
Yeah.
When the titles go up, they're also
Right.
starring. So where do we go from here? What is your gut feeling,
Where do we go?
manager wise? Let's go with that.
Jesus, Tim, I haven't thought that far ahead. I'm still like, I know we have a
Yeah,
cup.
see, I was awake for a lot longer, so I've been able to digest it a lot slower.
Yeah, Tim is playing chess while I'm still like playing checkers over here. I haven't even moved my piece. I'm just like and the timer is like, sir, you got to move your piece right now. It's your move. Like, I know people are saying Alonso. I guess it's the logical choice. Knowing that it's like too obvious, it's too sure a choice. It's not gonna happen. Knowing FSG, hey, I don't know if you guys jog your memory, right? When Brendan Rodgers was signed, did you guys ever expect it to be Brendan Rodgers? No, right? So I'm kind of feeling that,
But have they learned their lesson?
yeah, maybe they've learned their lesson, maybe not. FSG likes to get clever, right, with their signings. I think the fact that they sacked Brendan during that year and Klopp was the one available, it was like the logical choice. So they really had to go for it. But then, I don't know. I feel like Alonso makes too much sense. And we're going to see like a curveball introduction here, someone we totally don't expect, honestly.
Yeah, because it's almost, like when you talk about somebody this much, it never freaking
Yeah,
materializes.
exactly.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, yeah, it is the logical choice, right? I don't see. We'll have to like. I know, like we were just to piss off Kazi. We were the
Deserve.
Zerbi name we were throwing around
Deserve.
all over the place. I would hate to go back to that Discord channel because I just threw like a Deserbi like image out there and just got the back, ran out the back door just to get him going. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's going to be. He makes the most sense, and I think he has gained enough experience. And wouldn't it be nice to kind of him announce the same thing? And both teams are going for a title. I mean, Leverkusen is above Bayern by like 3 or 4 points, I think, right now.
Right.
I mean, we know how that league goes. I mean, Dortmund losing its, like flopping it last season and stuff too. But, both of them announcing it, both of them going for the title, like trying to finish on a high note and stuff like that. But, I mean, yeah, like Ryan says, just happy they have so much time to find the right person. I think so. And I mean, that's the thing. Like, I love some. I know they have to ask something in these press conferences, but like, yeah, why would Klopp? If Klopp was going to name a successor, why would Pep and everybody else leave? More than likely, he's going to say Pep.
Yeah, yeah. Which is why this whole thing, like, it's just the end of a cycle. I know we said that last year. This is like truly the end of a cycle because you could take out players and everything. The framework is still there if you have the
Yes.
same manager. But taking out the manager like that is really the start of a new cycle. So it's gonna be intriguing, but then again, I haven't thought that far ahead. I'm still playing checkers here. I haven't moved my piece.
But the new manager's job is automatically tough because he's following Klopp,
Yes,
and everything
yes,
he does is going to be compared to that. But at the same time, the job they're taking on, the situation they're taking on, is thousands of times better than what Klopp took over in terms of the squad. I mean, we're looking at the squad now. I mean, let's say we come to the summer transfer window, right? Regardless of how the season ends or what happens the rest of the way, you look at the squad on hand.
Mm.
We were not saying this a couple of seasons ago, but we have managed to somehow rebuild the entire midfield in one off season. And you see like a lot of like young players emerging as like potential players to kind of like grab spots in the squad. You don't have a huge number of holes. Like, going into last season, we were like, we need this, we need this, we need this, we need a whole new midfield. We could count a bunch of things. It's not like that this season. Like, you're like, yep, a center back. You can name very specific things
yeah.
in the summer window for the new manager coming in. So in some ways, they're taking over like a pretty good shape situation.
Yeah, yeah. If you compare Klopp's first lineup to whatever first starting 11 the new manager is going to compare, you genuinely have 4 world-class players in the squad right now that will start next year, provided they're still at Liverpool. Alisson, Van Dijk, Trent, and Salah. If they're still in the club, whoever that manager is, they're starting. And those 4 are difference makers. So, yeah, it's infinitely easier. Obviously, it's still going to be tough. But
Yeah.
yeah, as you said, compared to what Klopp does, it's like you got an extra, you're up an extra level here. You got extra bonuses and stuff. So yeah, that's something to be thought about by then. But obviously, Tim, it begs the question: like these world class players, some of them their contracts are going to be up soon, and some of these guys, the Salahs, the Van Dijks, they've pretty much been here throughout the entirety of Klopp's tenure. So how do you feel about that situation? Right? Like I know some people were saying, "Oh, Salah's off to Saudi, Van Dijk's probably gone."
I don't think you're getting somebody. I mean, depends on who you're getting, right?
Right.
I mean, I was thinking of this in terms of like how it affects us attracting people, right? A lot of people, a lot of players might look at Klopp and say, hey, this is a good situation to go into in terms of like making a name for yourself and go up and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't know, I'm not kind of like torn on this one. At the same time, you're thinking now those guys, this is your time to kind of, let's face it, Klopp has been the face of this team and has been a shield for all the players, regardless of what happens. Yes, everybody knows Van Dijk is there, everybody knows Trent is there and stuff like that. But it's always been, under the shield of Klopp. He is the face of the team.
Yeah.
So yeah. I think it's a chance for those guys to be more important in some ways on the club. And I don't think they will leave just because Klopp left.
I hope so.
Incoming players, I just don't know, because at the same time, really depends on who's coming in. That's why it goes back to what Ryan was saying. And, like Muko is like asking on Instagram as well, it gives us time so that you can announce, instead of announcing in the middle of summer, the new manager, you can announce your new manager in the next month or so and then recruit accordingly. And it feels like that's why, based on Klopp's interview, like during that discussions, he was like, yeah, I just don't want to go through with this process again. You can go through that process with the new guys. So you can get players to how he wants to play as well. And he's right. Sparky is definitely right. Champions League and trophies attract players. I think that's the biggest thing. Like this past season, if these big players came here, it was probably mostly the club, because we didn't have Champions League. You will have that in your pockets going into this offseason as well.
Yeah, and I'll drop a massive hot take here. Whoever is managing Liverpool next year is putting Trent in midfield.
But you know what? I'll send tapes of me Whoever comes in charge, I'm just gonna email him a bunch of videos of me saying why it won't work. Like Unai Emery is like a shot that I have not heard. I just feel like it's too soon for him over there. And
Yeah,
honestly, as much as I respect Unai, I feel like he is more of a Villa manager, if that makes sense.
he's found his level. Yeah, I feel like these
That's
club. Yeah.
right. Like he is like not the very top, slightly underneath
Mm,
kind of a manager. And I mean, I know like Villa fans. I mean, like Shea, for example, always complains about his lack of rotation and wearing people down too. So I guess hey, it will be a nice smooth transition in some ways. But Klopp has kind of learned that over time. But
yeah, he's
yeah, I mean,
rotated massively this year. To be fair, right?
yes,
Sometimes out of necessity. Sometimes he actually did it because he wanted to. Right?
yeah. I mean, I think part of it has been the depth. He has
Mm,
been able to. Uh, but I think he has maybe realized like what went wrong with 1.0
yeah.
so that we don't do it with 2.0 kind of an ordeal. But that was the thing, like that's what I guess that's why what was more shocking than anything else. It felt like whole new club 2.0 and here we go kind of an ordeal. I mean, a lot of fans, like non-Liverpool fans, are kind of like extremely happy because I think they were like, "Holy shit, these guys are!" What's gonna come City's way, hopefully, eventually. So that would have left Liverpool at the top by themselves, which nobody else in the Premier League obviously wants to see. And I
Mm,
think Klopp being gone is a huge factor because Klopp is the kind of guy that while they might hate it, they might hate him or his antics or whatever, everybody I think ultimately respects the
yeah.
management side of them.
It just goes to show that this decision was made 100% in good faith, right? Because like he knows that there's possibly going to be a window for him maybe to dominate with with the charges for City and stuff like that. Imagine if City get charged like we were talking about long time ago. One charge for Everton got them like almost like 10 points deduction,
Mm-hmm.
another 5-point deduction coming in. Imagine 115. The ramifications that could give to City. So I'm sure before Klopp made this decision that came at the back of his head. So this just goes to show this decision was purely personal, and
Yeah.
yeah, he felt that maybe his time was really coming to an end. So I really can respect him for that.
Gota says could never hate Enrique. I
That's
can.
annoying
'Cause
though.
honestly, he has just become
A meme.
very clickbait.
Yeah.
Is basically what he's become. Like, let me throw a hot take out there and see where it goes. Kind of a guy. He has become social media. I mean, some ex players. I know, like a lot of like, players, even freaking current players, all have their own podcasts and stuff like that, like to do their hot takes and all that kind of stuff. But I feel like Jose goes out of his way to be relevant sometimes by doing this stuff.
Sorry, the Discord channel made me laugh. Someone asked, "Just woke up. Did I miss anything?" And then Anon replied, "Yeah, Thiago's back in training." There we go. That's the Anon we know.
Yeah, so let's get to Sunday real quick on our way out over here. Obviously, it's going to be huge, and we are home. So, right? Am I getting
We
this
are
right?
home. Yeah, we
Okay.
are home.
So you would think that place is going to be some ridiculous energy. Norwich is probably like, God damn it,
Yeah.
when
Oh
they
shit.
hear that.
Yeah.
So are we going to see like an instant reaction of what the team will do? Because the reaction that you're going to get from Anfield in a game like that.
Yeah. We're gonna get a sneak peek. Although it's kind of interesting. I know we're not gonna go into it much. It's kind of interesting who he's gonna put out there, because I
Yeah.
feel like we have a very thin squad right now that's just slowly starting to recover. And I feel like, for example, the likes of Bradley and Gomez there, right and left back, we played them consecutive games in a span of what, 2 weeks. So there's a chance that they're a bit worn down. Is Klopp going to go with them? Is he going to risk the people just coming back from the injury? Probably not. But then at the same time, Bradley looked gassed at the end of that game against Fulham, right?
Yeah.
And so it's going to be interesting who's going to be lined up there. But I think the
That's a
front,
good point because you're
right?
putting 90 minutes on a lot of guys who are not
Yeah,
used to those 90 minutes back to
exactly.
back to back. That's why I feel like it's a good scenario to throw Bradley out there for 60 and then have Trent get
Trent.
like 20, 30 at the end. Maybe do the same thing with Gomez and bring Robertson at the end. I mean, do you expect it could be a tough game in terms of like, Norwich obviously going to sit back and stuff like that. But what do you expect to see in terms of like the team's, I don't want to say attitude, but like energy level? Do you think it's like it because of the stadium, it's a more gung ho than normal?
Yeah, because of the news, and I think we always keep a decent energy level when we play at home, right? We're gonna be facing a bus, so I feel like a parked bus,
That might normally have been the case against Norwich in an FA Cup game, though. Like
right?
you get a bit sleepier, Anfield in days
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
but then we have this news, Tim, this piece of
Yes,
news. So like knowing these players, they're a bunch of good lads, right? They again the no assholes policy, right? These guys are motivated, they want to do and keep the manager happy. Hopefully that's the case. I think energy levels will be great. Uh, the lineup is the intriguing question who it's going to be. I feel like he's going to probably start Allison, right? Because I think the FA Cup he mentioned belongs to Allison. League Cup belongs to
I think so. Yeah.
Keller. So the fullbacks, Robbo left, Gomez right. What do you feel about that, Tim? You think
I
it's
don't think he puts Robo out there for like 90. I think, that's why I feel like, you start how you kind of started very similar to the League Cup game. And
right?
then you do bring in Robertson, you do bring in Trent, and hopefully Soboslai to get enough minutes and some game action, like game speed, before they go against Chelsea.
Another great point is, do you see McAllister starting at the sixth? Because this is going to be the third successive game in a short span where he's going to be starting that position, and we all know how much a drain that is for a player, right?
Yeah, I think he will, because I don't know if there's another option unless you put Curtis back there. There's really nobody else that can kind of
That's
play
what I
that
was thinking.
six.
Curtis? No.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, he did take off McAllister, what, around 60
Mm-hmm.
against Fulham, right? He took him, which is when things kind of went south.
Yeah.
And
When
I'm
he
sure
took
he
out
kind of
McAllister.
knows that too. Yeah, like Ryan says, he kind of has to. I feel like that. And I think hopefully if it's the same scenario where, things are going well, you can take him off again at 60 and have anybody can be there to kind of like manage the game. So,
Like you
Sparky.
said, the bat signal, right? Like,
Yep, the best signal. Like, somebody said Jones, no.
yeah, I feel like the only certainties are Allison's going to start, Jones is going to start, Kwanzaa is going to start, and Chota is going to start.
Okay.
Yeah.
Kwanzaa, huh? No Konate?
Konate, Kwanzaa. I
Oh,
think.
Kwanzaa. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. No friction zone says Xavi Alonso the Zerbi. I see that the Zerbi name is going to be thrown around a
A good
lot.
thing
I
Kazi
am
isn't
not
here.
for it. I am not against it. Like if that got announced tomorrow, I'd be like, let's see, is what
Yeah.
I would say. I like the football that he has his teams play. So I mean, Brighton is fun to watch. But at the same time, and you kind of can see he puts people in good positions overall and stuff like that. But I don't know. Sergi says so. None of those players John mentioned starts. Yeah, no, there will be no Potter or anything like that. Like I say, Alonso makes the most sense to me
Yeah.
as well, but
Too much sense, even.
too much sense. Exactly. I think we're kind of coming back to that. I know this just came out obviously today, so and that's the only thing that I worry about or is this good, you think, for the team? Actually, let me ask you this before we go. This is what everybody's going to be talking about
Yeah.
24/7. Even us. I mean, obviously, this game today, I would hope to God I'm going to treat this like the transfer markets and not try to make the old shows about like nothing but manager rumors now instead of player rumors. January is almost over, so we'll have manager rumors rest of the way.
Hey, at least Klopp leaving confirms we're not gonna get anyone in January, right? So
Probably,
yeah,
right?
none of this
Yeah.
shit anymore. Yeah. Like,
But at the same time, do you think? Oh, no, that's never gonna happen. good old Jose coming over here. No, I mean, do you think because everybody's gonna be talking about this, is that better for the team, where they're gonna be able to go about their business? We sometimes talk about managers or certain players shielding the rest from like the media and stuff like that. Does it make it better that this is going to be the entire talk and they're going to take care of their own business with Klopp in the background? instead of them kind of, like picking on players, picking on Nunez and picking on like this guy, they're going to be just talking about like, is it going to be Zidane coming over here? Is it going to be Alonso coming over here and stuff like that?
Yeah. Again, there's like two perspectives to this, Tim. Glass half full is that it works out, right? It really helps.
Yep.
The second is that it completely derails this entire thing, which I don't know, man. Being here in American Scouser for the last few months has gotten me a bit more pragmatic than I usually am. I'm usually super gung ho.
You're aging right in front of our eyes.
You could literally see the frown lines like develop, and then like I have a cap on, but my hair is turning white. But yeah, I certainly hope that it's the former. It's it taking all the attention away, and us continuing to just go under the radar. Because let's be real, people still think City's gonna win it, even though we have a 5-point lead. Like, if you ask any pundit right now, who do you think's gonna come off with the Premier League? Oh, City. Like me personally, logically, I still feel like City's gonna edge us out, right? And that's me reverse jinxing it. Right, that's me reverse jinxing.
That works. That works for everybody involved, I think.
Right.
That everybody. Yeah, I mean, Sergi says I don't understand how we plan for the summer. I think this is why it's good that it's coming out now, so we can plan for the summer signings. Because
exactly,
if this was June, how are you going to sign somebody? Because you don't even have a manager. I feel like now you're going to go into summer. This is going to get resolved. I feel like fairly soon, and maybe that's why this news came out now. Even though he told FSG back in November that he's going to leave, you are going to have a manager in place, and I think that's going to be a lot better. And I know what Sparky is saying. Yeah, they are professional players, and your boss changes. You still have to do your job. But goes back to what you were saying earlier. You're still doing your job, but you also have other things to worry about, other things to think about now. That you're like constantly hearing this other stuff. I hear Joe from this department is going to come over and stuff like that. So how that affects them, and I think I kind of have faith in Klopp that he's going to be able to control that.
Nunez is thinking like, oh shit, is the new guy going to be okay with me missing like a gazillion easy chances?
Nunez probably doesn't even know because he doesn't have no English, so he doesn't understand the news. He was like, I don't know.
Like, hi boss. He's like, hi boss. No idea what's going on.
So what do you think we're gonna do next year? It's definitely a catalyst for the quad.
Hey boss, can I play left wing next year? Yes.
He's like, you can do whatever the fuck you want, kid. But yeah, I think so too. Or maybe we hope so. That it is gonna be a catalyst for the team to kind of like finish it off on a high note kind of thing and worry about that.
I think with respect to Serzi's point here, I think we just have to enjoy the moment, man. Like all of this planning for next year, I think we just have to cross that bridge when we get there and just enjoy these last few months with Klopp. Honestly, it sounds cheesy, it sounds overly sentimental, but this guy has given us some of the best years supporting. I haven't supported Liverpool as long as say you, Tim, or maybe Kazi or Gordo has. Yeah, but like the best manager I saw was Benitez, and I supported Liverpool towards his last 2 years, and he wasn't that great anymore. So absolutely, Klopp is the best manager to have ever managed the club in my lifetime, at least. So for me, it's just like, hey, just enjoy the ride. Like this whole planning and everything, what's going to happen next? I say, let's just cross that bridge when we get there, boys. Just enjoy the ride.
And I think the planning, if this was last year, I would be more worried about it. Right? Because we're like, we have to build a freaking new midfield. Who's going to do all this stuff? I would probably worry more about it than I am now, knowing the situation we're in. DJ Smokey
is he trolling like with his last
trolling and blowing smoke? I'm assuming. Yeah, because didn't Angelita just sign an extension? By the way, with all this Real Madrid talk. I'm pretty sure he just signed an extension a month or so ago.
Yeah, shabby. Yeah.
So, gotta get the rumors right, man. Like, that's what I mean. Like the rumors about, because they're doing the documentary and stuff. For fuck's sakes, go listen first. And then, I'm all for conspiracy theories, but let's plan them well, for God's sakes, and do them that way. So, he has been, he's been one of the best managers in the like in the game for like, I mean, for decades. If you think about it, I mean, what he's done in Dortmund too, I mean, Dortmund was 10 times worse, where he was giving his best players to the rival. It would be like every season he's giving the best two Liverpool players to City and
Yeah.
still trying to compete with City. That's what he was pretty much doing in Germany.
I think the myth of Klopp not spending is more appropriate to his Dortmund stay than it is with his Liverpool stay. Like, people talk about net spend and all that, but we have spent. We do have money to spend. We have spent within the framework of the rules. I think the point in his career where he really had to work with a shoestring budget was Dortmund, because, like you said, every year it's like another player gets gone. Like, oh, Lewandowski, he's gone. Götze, he's gone.
And you're
right?
giving it to your like rival.
Right, to your rivals.
Like
exactly.
he's going somewhere else. Just like
Right, exactly.
you're playing against him the next season. It's crazy.
Yeah, indeed. Geez, let me just say that the last the post match show for our last game of the season is gonna be, I don't know, man.
Yeah, I mean, I had a tough time last season. I'll be honest, with Bobby leaving. That was tough. That was hard to watch. But I mean, yeah. Well, sadly, all good things come to an end. I'm almost glad it's being handled the way it is. I think I can't remember if it was Cersei or Gordo mentioning it earlier in the comments, but better than coming out in May and be like, yeah, I'm out, guys, kind of a thing. And depends on what the situation is then and stuff like that. But I just hope, let me say this though, I just hope that, we do finish with multiple trophies. One, to send them on a high note, and two, because then the blame will go to him that this came out and the team left this focus. You know how the media is going to like turn around, and they might be right partially too. Like the team lost this focus and stuff like that. So let's hope for the best. Obviously, like a shocking news, and I'm sure everybody will be talking about it for. I mean, there's a game on Sunday. So
yeah, there's a game on Sunday, guys. In case y'all didn't know.
Heads up, it's coming your way. Early prediction for that game.
I think it's going to be a weird one, really weird one, but we just win it 2-0. It's like the most nonchalant 2-0 ever, where they scored like, we're like, oh, yay, and then they score again, oh, yay, and then that's it. Like, we're literally in a cup final in a month, and I can't be bothered, honestly. Maybe it's just the shock right now.
Maybe the shock right now. Like I say, when you have like 3-4 hours to digest it like I did, it gets a lot better. For once today, I'm agreeing with Sparky. I'm going with like 3-0 as well. Shelton just sent a face. No, I'm just kidding. He's expecting a face coming out of that. 3-0 as well. Yes, 3-0 is the popular way to go. Let's go with that. But we'll be on. Obviously, hopefully by then everybody will have digested. Even John will have digested this news. We'll be on for the pre-match right after the lineup comes out. As always, meet us then. Have a great Saturday. Enjoy your Friday. If you're having problems with the whole Klopp thing, go listen to the entire interview. And hopefully, like me, you guys will come out of the interview thinking, you know what? Thanks a lot for everything, man. I hear you. Be well, and then we move on and things move on. So have a great Saturday, everybody. John, go get another cup of reckless or something like that to wake you up the shock, and then we'll be back Sunday for the pre-match. You guys take care.
I think I need something stronger though, to be fair.
To double up the reckless.
Right. Yeah. Take care, guys.
Everyone.
Thank you.